Imagine a force that needs uh, absolutely no warm-up,
Right.
no stretching, no second coffee, just instant energy, like the first breath of a newborn.
Or that 0 to 60 feeling that just pins you to your seat.
Exactly. We're talking about pure, raw speed, a refusal to wait. The Sanskrit word is ashwa, a horse.
But it's more than just a horse, isn't it? It's the concept, the horsepower of the entire zodiac.
The kinetic engine of the universe. I like that.
That's the spark. And to really get it, we have to, step away from the everyday for a minute.
Well, it's definitely loud out here in the everyday. Let's take these notes somewhere quieter.
Sounds good.
All right, so imagine you're with us. We're stepping off the street, away from the traffic, and pushing open this heavy oak door.
Mm-hmm. And that little bell chime.
Yeah, and the door clicks shut, and suddenly, it's quiet.
Well, almost quiet. You can smell the coffee, the old books. It's that expectant library quiet.
We're at our table in the back, charts and texts everywhere.
Welcome back to the table. Today we're acting as guides into the very, very beginning. We're looking at the first nakshatra, Ashwini.
The star of transport, so we're at 0 degrees Aries, the absolute start.
Precisely. Ashwini stands from 0 degrees to 13 degrees and 20 minutes of Aries, or Mesha. Astronomically, we're looking at Beta and Gamma Arietis.
Okay.
Now, I want to pause there for a second because the sources actually debate this a little. Some say 2 stars, some say 3.
And usually a star count is just trivia, but here it really matters, doesn't it? Because 2 is the whole point of Ashwini.
Exactly. The duality is everything. This star is ruled by the Ashwini Kumaras,
The divine twins.
the golden armored horsemen, the physicians to the gods.
Right, and their origin story, I was reading the notes you pulled, and it's pretty intense. It's not a simple bedtime story.
It's not. It's one of the most interesting myths, though, because it really explains the function of this energy. So the story goes that Sanjana, who was the wife of the sun god Surya, she just couldn't handle his heat. Literally. She was burning out. So she turned herself into a mare and just fled to earth to find some peace.
Which is a mood. Just turn into a horse to get away from your intense partner.
Right. But Surya, being the sun, he wasn't going to let that go. He transformed into a stallion and followed her.
Okay.
And when they finally united, the Ashwini Kumaras were born. But here's the detail that is so important.
That.
They were born from her nostrils.
Okay, stop right there. Nostrils. That is
Uh-oh.
so specific. And a little weird. Why not? Just a normal birth. What's the symbolism there?
It sounds strange, I know, but in Vedic thought, it's never random. The nostrils are the gateway for prana.
For breath. The life force.
Exactly. So Ashwini isn't just about physical speed. It's about the intake of life itself. The very first breath a baby takes. That shocking rush of oxygen that starts the whole engine.
So it's the ignition switch.
It's the ignition, the transition from dormant to active. From not breathing to breathing.
And that makes so much sense. It explains why the sources call it the Shivra Vyapani Shakti.
The power to quickly reach things.
Yeah, like a cosmic ambulance.
That is the perfect analogy. It is immediate intervention. Think about it. A paramedic doesn't have time to think. They arrive, they stabilize, they heal. Now.
Right. They're the miracle cure.
And speaking of miracle cures, there's that other myth in our stack. The one about the sage Dadichi and the horse head surgery.
Oh, this was my favorite. It sounds like the world's first biohack.
It's basically intellectual hacking, yes. So the king of the gods, Indra, was guarding this secret knowledge called the Madhu Vidya, the honey wisdom. And he told the sage Dadichi, if you teach this to anyone, I will cut off your head.
Wow, high stakes.
Very. But the Ashwini twins, they wanted that knowledge. They were doctors. They were innovators. So they came up with a plan.
An insane plan.
A very clever plan. They told the sage, look, we'll cut off your head first and keep it safe. Then we will attach a horse's head to your body. You teach us through the horse's mouth.
Okay.
When Indra finds out and cuts off the horse head, as promised, we'll just reattach your original human head.
Wait, that's genius and also horrifying. Are we supposed to admire this?
We are. We're supposed to admire the ingenuity. It's the perfect Ashwini stance. They found a loophole. They bypassed authority to get forbidden wisdom. They don't respect a stop sign if they see a clever way around it.
So we have speed, healing, and this rebellious innovation. Let's look under the hood, the technicals. Who's driving this thing?
And this is where it gets really complex. The nakshatra ruler itself is Ketu, the south node.
Okay.
But it's in the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars.
Ketu and Mars, that sounds like a volatile cocktail.
Oh, it's explosive. Mars is the engine, the aggression, the heat. It's the soldier. But Ketu is the headless mystic. Ketu brings this feeling of karmic urgency.
Karmic urgency. What does that actually feel like on a Tuesday?
It feels like you're running out of time, but you have no idea what the deadline is. There's this low-grade anxiety that you're late for something important.
Like when your Uber is waiting and you can't find your keys.
Exactly that feeling, but for your whole life. And Ketu's symbol is the flag, the Vajra. Wants to get there, plant the flag, and say, done.
Right.
And because of that Mars influence, the nature is Laku, which is light, and Kshipra, which is swift. It is the most Rajasic of all the stars.
Rajasic meaning active, passionate.
Pure kinetic energy.
Oh.
It is great for launching a project. It is terrible for sitting still and proofreading. Their motivation is dharma or duty, but it's very active, almost crusading kind of dharma.
Okay, but they can't all be the same, right? There must be
Yeah.
a difference between a reckless driver and a brilliant surgeon. That's where the padas come in.
Right. The padas are like different flavors. They slice the nakshatra into 4 zones based on the Navamsa chart.
And Navamsa is like zooming in on a pixel, right? Giving the
Yeah.
high-res details.
That's a great way to put it. So pada 1 is in the Aries Navamsa, ruled by Mars. So you've got Ashwini, which is Mars and Ketu,
Yeah.
in a Mars section.
Double Mars.
Wow. This is the pioneer, the Dirtala. Very physical, courageous, but also prone to head injuries. The texts even mention issues with bile or too much internal heat.
So the person who jumps first and figures it out on the way down.
Exactly. Then we get to Pada 2. Now we're in Taurus Navamsa, ruled by Venus.
Okay, so the wild horse gets a bit of refinement.
Shiny saddle, yeah.
Yeah.
Becomes more practical, resourceful. This is the splendorous side.
Mm.
But the texts warn about stubbornness. And interestingly, a risk of Balarishta.
Ballerista, that sounds serious.
It means health dangers in early childhood. It's likely because you have this incredibly fast energy trying to exist in a very stable, fixed container like Taurus. It creates a lot of friction early on.
Okay. And after that?
Pada 3 is Gemini Navamsa, ruled by Mercury.
So a fast talker.
The speedy Jack, a sharp intellect, very humorous, loves games, loves to talk. They think so fast.
I'm picturing an auctioneer. Or that friend who finishes your sentences for you.
Yes, their nervous system is just buzzing. Brilliant. But they can be prone to skin or eye issues from that nervous tension.
And the last one, Pada 4.
That lands us in Cancer Navamsa, ruled by the moon. And this is where the healer emerges. The energy turns from self-propulsion towards empathy. This is the medical intuition.
Well,
The cosmic ambulance really shows up here. But the downside is they can be prone to watery diseases or just emotional turbulence. They feel everything instantly.
so if you meet someone with a lot of planets in Ashwini, what's the archetype? What are we seeing?
You're seeing youthfulness. They often look younger than they are. Bright eyes, a quickness to their step. They walk fast, they talk fast, they eat fast.
Yeah.
But the psychological flaw, and this is the big one, is that they are great starters.
And terrible finishers. Oh, you just described my garage. There's a kayak I used once, a guitar with no strings.
That is classic Ashwini energy. It's the thrill of the new. Once it becomes routine, they're gone. They're already on to the next thing. Their internal speedometer is always redlining.
Okay, let's get specific. What if your moon is in Ashwini? Your emotions.
Impulsive emotions. I feel this now. They can fall in love in a second and then out of it just as quickly. It's like a thunderstorm, intense, loud, but then it's over and the sun is out. They don't hold grudges.
And the sun is exalted here. It loves Aries.
It loves it a little too much sometimes. It gives great leadership and authority. But remember the myth. The sun was too hot for his wife.
Ah, right.
They can be arrogant. They can burn people out without even realizing it because they're so focused on their own mission.
One thing I found fascinating in the sources was for the ascendant. It said they can have a horse-like face, but also that they miraculously survive accidents.
Yes, Bruce Lee is often cited as an Ashwini ascendant. That incredible physical speed, but also that resilience.
Yeah.
They're prone to accidents because they just move so fast, but they have that Shakti of restoration. They walk away from the car crash.
But there is a shadow side to all this speed.
Of course. Fools rush in. That's the shadow. Aggression, no reflection, ignoring good advice because they think they already know the answer.
Yeah.
They fall in love with leaping before they've even looked.
So where do these people work? What do you tell an Ashwini who's miserable in a desk job?
Well, first, you get them away from the desk. Medicine is classic, especially surgery or the ER. Anywhere that requires fast, decisive action.
And transport, I assume?
Absolutely. Pilots, race car drivers, equestrians, and innovators. They're the pioneers who break new ground.
So the advice is,
Be the one to start the company, then hire someone else to run it. Do not be the maintainer. you will be miserable.
Let's touch on the medical astrology again. You mentioned the head.
It rules the head and the knees.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a fiery, airy energy, they're prone to headaches, migraines, high blood pressure. The engine just runs too hot. And since they're twins, it governs paired organs, the eyes, ears, nostrils.
So for anyone listening who's thinking, this is me, I'm redlining, I have 5 unfinished projects, what's the remedy? How do you balance this?
The sources are very specific, and I love the contrast. The first remedy is worship of Ganesha.
The elephant god. The remover of obstacles.
Yes, but think about an elephant versus a horse. Ganesha is heavy, slow, wise, grounded. He's the anchor that Ashwini needs. He forces the horse to slow down instead of trying to jump over every obstacle.
I like that image.
But the most practical remedy, and this brings us full circle, is pranayama, breath control.
Because of the nostrils.
Precisely. The twins were born from the breath. The breath is the bridle for the wild horse. When an Ashwini person feels scattered, they can't think their way out of it. They have to slow their breath down. It's a mechanical fix.
Are there specific sounds, too?
There are. The seed sounds chu-chi, cho, la, and the mantra om or omem. But really, the core practice is just cultivating patience, learning that not everything is an emergency.
So what's the ultimate lesson here? What is Ashwini trying to teach us?
The lesson is that Ashwini is the intelligently directed initial spark. The goal isn't to suppress the speed. You can't turn a racehorse into a donkey. The goal is to steer it.
To be the rider, not the wild horse.
Exactly. To master that transition from unmanifest to manifest without completely burning out.
I love that. Before we go, let's just quickly look at our sources. Was there anything missing or any gaps that stood out to you?
It's interesting because there's that gap we mentioned, the debate over 2 stars versus 3. That's a conflict between the astronomy and the mythology.
Right.
Also, the modern texts get very literal about transport cars, planes. The classics are focused on biological power, the horse. We have to be careful not to lose that.
And that Belarishta stuff.
Yeah, the infant mortality calculations. That's a whole other deep dive into technical mathematical astrology. We definitely skip that today to focus on the archetype itself.
So we've lit the fuse, we've burst out of the gate with Ashwini, but after acceleration comes mass, momentum.
You can't sprint forever. After the birth, you have to bear the weight of what you've created. The spark is lit, now you have to sustain the flame.
Which leads us to our next stop on the journey.
We move from the speed of the horse to the weight of the bearer. We are heading toward Bharani.
But that, of course, is a story for another time. For now, the engine is cooling.
The breath is slowing down.
We're closing the books here at Cafe Karma. The door's opening to let you back into the world. Maybe try to breathe through your nose on the way out. Drive safe.